All right, joining me to discuss, I guess, everything is CA Conservative. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's start off with the big news of the week. Uh, the winner of a real contest, that being, I believe that there was a fierce contest, a battle of spirits, and in the end, the Atlanta Braves took the top spot.
Yeah, it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch with the Astros.
Yeah, and also there was an election in Virginia.
Yeah, minor question.
I mean, it was a pretty good night for Republicans.
Very good night. A much better night than I think we were all expecting to have.
Yeah. For those who somehow missed the amazing night the Republicans had, they swept the statewide offices. I don't know. Do you see that tweet I sent you that said it has been 4,382 days since Republicans won statewide in Virginia, and then there was another that said it has been 0 days.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
surprised you.
that's completely right.
Yeah.
But I think the most exciting part is what it bodes for the future, with a path offered for next year, especially given how in denial Dems across the board are about this.
Right.
I mean, the I've been watching a lot of MSNBC recently for the entertainment, and it's just delusional. They're just they're on full downplay mode, saying, "Oh, this is just how history works." Like, I don't think they'd be saying that if they won.
Oh yeah, I don't think they'd be saying that at all. I mean,
They didn't say that in
well,
2017 when they won. Oh, it's just the opposite party. Oh
even
no, it
though
was a massive defeat.
even though that was how history worked.
Well, but history works that way because of what else is going on. It's not just history that midterm or the off-year elections go bad for the party in power. They all are going to go bad, and next year it's not going to be very pleasant for Dems with the swings they saw. I mean, I think I saw that we would have 265 seats in the House with the swings that we saw.
Right.
But honestly, I think the more astonishing thing, I mean, the result in Virginia is very good, especially that that we flipped the House of Delegates with 52 or 53 seats.
Wait, is there an eighth seat that is in play? Because I remember it was 52.
Yeah, they
But
there were reports that a recanvass may flip one of them.
okay,
Some mistakes had
so
been made on one of those narrow seats.
okay,
Whether or not it
just
ends up that way, I don't know. But
okay, just as soon as I find the New York Times website, I just want to go over the seats that I that that flipped. And you think the New York Times would actually be the first option when you search for 2021 Virginia gubernatorial election results, but it turns out you actually have to put in New York Times in order to get those results. Because of
yeah,
course you do. But no, I, I wanted no, I wanted Virginia, not New Jersey. I wish you guys could see my screen right now. It's the headline is Youngkin wins Virginia governor's race, dealing blow to Democrats until election day. And right below me is the result of the New Jersey gubernatorial election.
well, I think New Jersey is honestly even more exciting than Virginia. Um, well, partly because what it shows is that we almost won. We shouldn't be anywhere near winning New Jersey.
Even though it all
I
it
mean, it was
actually even though it breaks against the White House is sometimes as well.
yeah, but what we've been told for the past 5 years is that those trends have died, and that you know Trump will keep us out of power forever. If those are the kind of swings we're seeing there, then you figure Pennsylvania should be really easy. In New England, Connecticut will be in play. The rest of the Midwest should be really easy. Um, I mean, these are the kind of things that lead to a landslide.
Yeah. No, I'd say, I've been saying all year that election, if the 2022 midterms were anything in line with elections that had taken place so far this year before this Tuesday, that Republicans would only be marginally competitive to take back Congress. But based on what happened on Tuesday, they are probably overwhelming favorites to take not just the House but the Senate
Well,
as
in which
well.
case, before the conversation was sort of, where do we find our 51st seat? And now we can start saying, okay, what's seat 53? What's seat 54? You know,
Uh,
we can go beyond the easy seats, assuming Sanu runs the New Hampshires to start looking, oh, New Mexico, oh, Nevada,
yeah,
targeting him even more aggressively, especially because, I mean, the trends below the top line were really good for us in Virginia. I mean, we got huge rural turnout. Urban turnout was below, with us doing much better than we did last year. With us among minorities peaking in probably into the mid 40s, very easily among Hispanics.
hmm
Us getting probably near record numbers among African Americans in the upper teens,
yeah,
especially for Sears. Um, all of these trends are really good. I mean, you saw the white women trending on Twitter, with us securing that. I mean, they've been pushing hard against us on abortion, on education,
right,
and we beat them.
yep.
Can't help but feel good about our chances.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure what you can see. Can you confirm to me that you see some maps?
I see an indication you've started screen sharing, but otherwise not your screen.
Oh, not my screen. Oh,
What
you
did
have.
you select as your target?
I'm looking at the Virginia election results from 2021, and I'm hoping we also have 2013 up on there.
Just target it to the window, not or to the Chrome window, not the whole screen. It probably doesn't like that.
Okay. Let me try this again. Uh, why is this so slow? Uh, I honestly hope I'm not stuck. Okay, but oh oh boy. Well, while we wait for that, anything else you want to talk about? That was your screen. Oh, I'm screen sharing. What now? How? What now?
Same as before.
Oh, great. Stop. Okay. While we're waiting for Zoom to stop being a
Oh, there
I
it
can't.
goes. Well,
Yeah. Oh,
I,
there it goes.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Right when
like
you
we should.
right when you disable it, apparently.
Of course that happened. Um, you can only see one screen though, right?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. But or one or two screens, or sorry, I
Yeah, yeah,
was.
yeah. You're good. Yeah.
Oh, but no. I'm saying like, can you see like one or let me see if I can tell you illustrate what I'm talking about.
I can see the
Uh,
New York Times. Yes.
but do you see two maps or one? I'm gonna scroll
One.
to one. Okay. Okay. This is funny. We have to upload this as is. I was hoping I could double bunk with my second monitor.
That would be a bad idea, I would say.
Okay. So what you are seeing is the results here. As you can see, Glenn Youngkin winning by 2.5 points. I think that's a bigger margin than what I think people were expecting.
But what I would note about the margin is that it is above what a lot of the more establishment polls had said, which said it would be within a point, and closer to the more um, Republican organization polls, Epsilon, um, uh,
the
not
guys who the guys
Trafalgar,
who
kind of.
the guys who
Um,
predicted Newsom plus 12 back in September.
yeah, yeah, basically. Virginia is a state that's much easier to poll than California. And they seem to have gotten away with it.
Well, that's funny because in 2016 17, you remember me being this broken record prior to election day, saying, you know, there was, the polls appeared to be tightening. The
But
race
but
that was
it's
thought to
just
be.
not but
Okay,
it's just not true. But it's
you're
just not true. The polls before 2017 were uniformly bad for us. There is no real comparison between the two. I mean, if I go to the Real Clear Politics average and look at the last day polls, the final margin was Northam +9. You had Fox at +5, Emerson at 3, Q at 9, Newport University at 6. So they were pretty close, with undecideds just swinging to Northam. Whereas here, if I can find it, polls, latest polls.
okay. So,
With
anyway,
the latest polls here, Youngkin +2 with Trafalgar, Youngkin +2 with Insider Advantage,
do I need to give
+8
you the
with
ability to
Fox.
share?
No,
Okay.
just reading them out's fine. I mean, you got kind of the post is ridiculous, but it's a little old. But here you have clear momentum in favor of Youngkin in the final days, whereas it was the opposite for Gillespie back in 2017. Beyond just the undecideds always break against the party in power axiom that probably held here. But really, I mean, New Jersey is a joke. I mean, you have
We're gonna get to New
Dickerson
Jersey. We're gonna get to New Jersey.
the polls here are just disgusting, though. I mean, they're off by like 10 points. I mean, you got Monmouth at Murphy +11, Dickerson at +9, Rutgers at +8, Trafalgar at +4, which they win the award for the best. The final margin will be like +2. How do you even do that?
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be like, within a 2 or 3 point race. That's
I mean, we almost won. It's New Jersey.
Christie
Like,
won in 2013. He won by a landslide. I think he won by something like 20 points.
yeah, against no real Dem opposition. But Dems, if you look especially at the down ballot races in 2013, we did really bad. Christie
Right.
did not deliver a landslide for our people down ballot. Even 2009 was not terribly favorable for us down ballot. Whereas in this race, we took out the second most powerful man in New Jersey with a guy who spent most of his campaign money on donuts.
And who didn't even spend like $200.
Yeah. He spent like
Wow.
$70 on donuts. That was his biggest expenditure. Like, you got to respect that. And
Yeah.
it's just a random truck driver took out a guy who spent like $20 million on his race.
Yeah, we're really gaining in South Jersey.
Oh, severely. How do you think Kim and Gonier and all those guys are feeling?
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway, I just wanted to. I promised you guys we'd talk about the House of Delegates races, because like I want to confirm with you guys. Like, I want to actually ask you if it'll even load. Which one? So this has been. So just to go here, this has been called for Wendy Goditis. That's a hold for Democrats. This was a gain, a flip. Jason Ballard unseating Democrat Chris Hurst. That was the first of, I believe, 7 gains.
that is the site that's probably a little easier to read the results on. What I just put in the chat.
Oh, Twitter chat or Zoom chat?
Zoom chat. Medium controls in chat.
Okay. VPAP. Because I was to say Kelly Fowler. Apparently, I think she's held on. Is that the one you were saying was going to go to recanvass?
They said the last tweet I saw on the matter was a statement by our person who said that there were some mistakes made by some of the precincts in 51. So that's a race.
51. Okay, so
That's
let
not
me
that
just,
close, actually. That's not that close. I'd be surprised if mistakes flipped that.
Second seat is Tara Durant. This was a gain for Republicans. It was the only gain anywhere close to Northern Virginia for Republicans. It's a Stafford County district, I believe.
Well, because we failed to beat that one really moderate one in the north with that kind of in the middle district, which I guess is fine.
Dan Helmer, this guy. Yeah, people thought this was going to be a close race.
It was closer than that. I think it was
Guzman.
No. Need to find Chaz's site. It had the map.
So sorry. Just sorry, I'm not using the thing you sent me, but I guess click on this, and see what happens. Oh, look at that. Okay. This was thought to be a close race, like Dan Helmer, but it ended up not being. Um, this was Lee Carter's seat. It was actually, I think, closer with Lee Carter. So, you remember him?
Oh yeah, no, it's the 10th district is the one I'm talking about.
10th district. Oh, that's the one that could flip. Wendy Goditis.
We no, Dems have definitely held that, but she apparently was quite a good candidate.
Yeah, no, it's. I had a feeling that if Republicans were going to gain in the House of Delegates, it would not be in Northern Virginia, because Democrats had an all Nova ticket, so I figured that would not help Republicans in
Well,
that
that
part of the
was
state.
just a case of Dems running a really good candidate. Just like we had very good candidates in 63 and 75.
Right.
Um,
Let's see.
but I think, especially if you look at relative to pre-election expectations, um, the only reason we took control or are going to take control is because we took some of those
South Side seats.
bluer, the more south side seats around
Yeah,
Virginia Beach
this
that
like
had
this one,
previously
Kim
been blue.
Taylor unseating Lancashire Air, I'm guessing.
Yeah, both 63 and 91 were really
And
important wins.
63 and 75 as well. Otto Waxman unseating Rosalind Tyler.
Well, 75 was predicted to go red anyway, and I think because that's a very racially polarized district, and there are more whites than blacks.
Right. So this Don Adams. I forget exactly where is Don Adams. I forget actually where some of these seats are. So yes, I'll just use the BPAP site. But
I'm on chat. I'm on Chaz's site. He's
can you
got a map.
Send that one too.
Hold on, wait. What am I looking for? 68.
Okay, so Republicans appear to have gained.
It's in the Richmond area.
Okay. I wish oh my goodness, I wish there was a map with this one.
Yeah, look at the link I just put in the chat. It doesn't have results, but it has the who won.
Right.
I'm guessing the House of Delegates vote would have been tied statewide because they didn't contest more races than we didn't contest.
Right.
We should be quite proud we contested most of their seats, except for like one in the border with DC.
Right. Well, is this results or is this predictions? This is actually, oh yeah, that's results.
Yeah, it has its predictions, but
right. So as you can see, like this is how I see it. Aside from one of these projections, the gains we made are in areas where I think in the long term Democrats should be a bit worried. And I guess before I explain that, let me explain what exactly I'm referring to. A little discussed aspect of this race was that Glenn Youngkin got above and beyond the margins that he needed in many of these rural counties, as you can see here. In fact, and this is an interesting one. This is a college town, Montgomery County, and Radford here. That's a college town. That going to Youngkin. I believe I forget which exit poll had this, but I think there was an exit poll that had McAuliffe up 7 points with 18 to 29-year-olds, which I think is a big reason why we have something like this right over here. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and but basically, one thing that I feel like is not discussed enough is the fact that in 2 out of the 3 major metro areas, Glenn Youngkin did worse than Ken Cuccinelli. That Terry McAuliffe actually improved on his margins in some of these metro areas than he did in 2013. And let me explain what I'm talking about. Loudoun County. This was the story of the night. How McAuliffe's margins supposedly collapsed here, and this is compared to Biden. But look at how he did here in 2013. That's just barely above like a 4.5 point margin, and and same thing with those are like Fairfax. Here that's a 30 point margin almost. Prince William is a 14 point margin, and look how McAuliffe did here 2 years ago. 22 point margin Fairfax, and a little more an 8 point margin in Prince William. Now, you want to hear another one? Stafford. This in 2013, Stafford he won Stafford by 14.5. Sorry, Cuccinelli won Stafford. This is a bit more Republican area of Northern Virginia. He won it by about 14.5 points. Glenn Youngkin, he is winning here. If this will load, look at that. Just only above, like a little above 11 points here. That is a bit of a decline here, and that is not just the case out in Northern Virginia. It is also the case in Richmond. I'm sorry for rambling on here. This is a bit more of a Republican area. Same thing with Fauquier. Glenn Youngkin actually did better. So some parts, like just outside of Northern Virginia, may have been better for Glenn Youngkin, but even a place like Stafford was better for McAuliffe than last time. Now look at this, Henrico County, and is going in 2013 goes for McAuliffe by 13 points. The city of Richmond, I believe, is according to this is McAuliffe plus about 57. Now how is it the last time? How is it this time? McAuliffe does actually, I believe, ever so slightly better in Richmond this time. And look at that. Plus McAuliffe plus 18 in Henrico. And it's not just that. Glenn Youngkin wins Chesterfield County by about 4.7%. Now that sounds impressive. That's a flip from 2020. But back in 2013, Cuccinelli again wins this place by 8 points. Chesterfield County goes for Cuccinelli by 8 points. So in most of these metropolitan areas, there is a Glenn Youngkin underperforms what Ken Cuccinelli was able to get. Is this all making sense to you?
No, because it's been 8 years. 2013 is not a valid point of comparison for this election. The correct point of comparison is 2020, which saw Youngkin do considerably better by double digits than Trump did in all of these Northern Virginia counties, around the Richmond area, and especially in the blacker rural portions of the state,
It's not
along in
exciting
the
to talk about.
southeast.
It's not exciting to talk about 2020 because he improves everywhere compared to that.
But he didn't. Well, I mean, he did, but not in the. Or here's and I'll put this. I'll DM this so it's
Now,
faster.
let me just continue because in
Here, look at this photo I've DM'd you.
okay, first
It
of
should
all,
be.
Terry McAuliffe wins. Let me see. He wins Arlington County by about 54 points this time around. That is a decline from what Biden got, but it is better than what he won it by in 2013. Now, the reason why I bring all this up is because there is actually one metropolitan area where McAuliffe underperformed.
Virginia Beach.
I was going to say Hampton Roads because look at this. Virginia Beach. As you can see there, Cuccinelli here is only winning here by like just under 2 points here. Now look at this. 21. That's an more than 8 point margin for Glenn Youngkin. That's a pretty solid improvement. And you go here, Chesapeake. This you see here McAuliffe winning here by about 3.2%. This flipped to Glenn Youngkin on election night on Tuesday. So that is a McAuliffe to Youngkin flip, and the same thing is also true in Suffolk. You can see here he's winning Suffolk by in 2013 by about 14 points. I believe if you go to this year, you can see there that is about a 10-point decline in margin in Suffolk, and the same thing is true in Norfolk. It's true in Portsmouth. It's true in Hampton, and it's true in Newport News. and this is also Northampton County, just on the on the peninsula, Delmarva Peninsula. That is a McAuliffe to Youngkin flip. So all across the Hampton Roads region, McAuliffe declined versus his 2013 performance. I realize this doesn't matter to you. What did you send me, by the way?
A picture summarizing.
Oh, you're on Twitter. Sorry.
Well, no, this would be my argument for the trends versus the last 8 years, especially given the vast difference in the number of votes cast.
Well, the reason I compare 2013 is because it's the same candidate running on the Democratic side.
But it's too far apart for it to me. I mean, each candidate this year is at what, 1.6 million ish each?
Yeah.
In 2013, they were barely hovering above 1 million, with a third party candidate taking over 100,000. Comparing that is a perilous affair versus this, which is much more of a clean trend.
Well, I love it when there are divergent trends. That's far more interesting to talk about.
Well, but I think the distance, I mean, it's like in us in 2016 talking about 2008 or 2004. It's just too far removed. And you can see there, that is the story of the night, not necessarily how everything has changed over the past 8 years, but how in just 1 year, Youngkin managed to almost reverse our decline in the suburbs and urban areas and do tremendously better in those more ex-urban zones while not losing in rural areas any,
But
giving
yeah,
us the perfect, the best of all worlds, basically.
now I want to bring up the map that to me is the defining aspect. If only okay, only Zoom will let me bring it up. Fortunately, I have to go to my Gmail to figure this out. So,
You don't want to show everybody your emails? Terrible.
I know, right? So, but it was a map that was sent out by the Crystal Ball. You read the Crystal Ball?
I do. With the exception of their leader, who is
No.
basically the left wing My Pillow Man these days. Did you see him
he
on election night? Did you
he
see him on
he
election
he
night?
he owns. By the way, he's owned that similarity. Just so you know,
But
he's
like,
owned. Yeah.
uh, even just in general, I don't know what's happened to him over the past few years because it's pretty sad.
Okay. Anyway, this to me is the story of the election.
Well,
See
that's a very
that?
similar map to what we've just talked about.
Uh,
Um,
I mean, look at that.
well, that's
Like,
just what you were presenting on.
no, yeah. So yeah,
Um,
yeah. So basically, I'm showing it to you like in better terms, and I think that see, actually, there's been a bit of an update. This has actually, I believe, gotten a bit bluer since this map was published. But other than that, you can see uh, McAuliffe improving in the Northern Virginia area from his 2013 performance.
but I mean,
And
if the suburban swing in 2022 is only 5 points from our pre-Trump numbers, we're gonna win by a lot. Like versus the suburban swing. I mean, what would it have been in what would the 2013 to 2020 map look like? There'd be 15 to 20 point swings in all of those counties
right.
to Biden.
But to
And
me,
so,
if Republicans are going to do well in Virginia, this region that I'm pointing to, if you can see it, is where it's going to happen.
well, I think we said before we were looking at winning Virginia. A tied race would have Virginia Beach at about 5 points in our favor, and we won by 8, basically
Yeah.
reflective of our statewide margin.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, but no, but I mean, people were expecting, by the way, that Stafford, Chesterfield, and Virginia Beach were all going to go for Youngkin. That was almost universally expected.
well,
But
in a tied race, yeah.
right, what I wasn't expecting was for Chesterfield and for Stafford to be bluer than they were in 2013, and for Youngkin to still win.
Well, again, our base is not the same as it was in. I mean, do you remember the pre 2010 congressional map? those trends were largely still existent in 2013. We had not fully realized the depth of our rule gains by then, whereas now we have.
Yeah, one
Um,
particular one that's particularly striking is Allegheny County. I believe that Youngkin. If I can just go to that real quick. That is not what I wanted to. I hate that I can't see my tabs. Wow. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it as soon as I try looking for it.
I use Edge. I
Uh,
woull know.
I'll use Edge. Okay.
No, I
Uh,
use Edge.
oh, of course, that's why, because it was in a different tab. Of course, I can't find it. Because it's in. Okay. Anyway, what was I saying? I've now lost track of my train of thought. Um,
But I mean, even especially winning is always nice, but we won with very good people. I mean, we've elected the first black woman to lieutenant
yeah,
governor, the first Hispanic person statewide ever in Virginia. I mean, we have set first with people that will power our victories for the next decade. I
mhm,
believe we even got 2 black representatives in the House of Delegates.
yeah.
Um, and so we have the kind of people that will allow our majorities to persist and
Anyway, this is
allow
what.
us to undo what Dems have done for the last 4 years in the
And
state.
anyway, well, not entirely because the state senate still has a Democratic majority.
Well, but look at who there was a joke that Richmond's about to have the best roads in the state. Um, Dems have 2 very unreliable people um, holding up their majority, and we only need one to flip to
Who
pass
specific?
things.
Who are the? I want to look up those people.
Joe Morrissey is the main one, and then there's one
Oh,
other guy.
that guy. Ugh.
Yeah. So if we have to bribe him to get our stuff passed, I would be fine with that.
Oh, fun fact.
Chap Pearson is the other one.
Oh wow. Well, it's time we did
Peterson
a
rather.
Virginia State Senate. Uh, Actually, it's called the Senate of Virginia. I forget how each, because some of these are state senates, some of them are just senates. It's hard to
Um,
memorize all of them. Bet you could though.
Probably.
Oh, one of
But
their. Oh, this is what's her
Chase, yeah,
face?
what an idiot.
No, by the
Amanda
way,
Chase, yeah.
that reminds me. That's reminded me of something I wanted to say. Thank God Republicans decided to cancel their primary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
That would have been a very bad idea. And I think that what this victory shows is the value in suppressing the more democratic elements of our internal party electoral
yeah,
process.
had Republicans gone through the primary, Tuesday night probably would have ended very differently.
Yeah. I mean, we probably still would have beaten Chase. Um, Especially given the amount of money that Youngkin could have dumped in.
Right, she
But
was
it would
leading
have
in the
been a much
polls
more
though.
brutal. Well, yeah, just because no, I honestly I had never heard of most of our candidates before. They were chosen at the convention, so it's almost certainly just a question of name recognition. In their
Right.
case.
And just imagine for a second had Democrats decided not to nominate Terry McAuliffe. Imagine if they decided to nominate someone like Jennifer McClellan or Jennifer Carroll Foy.
Oh yeah, but I mean, admittedly, their lieutenant governor pick was relatively progressive,
So
and
this
she didn't
guy,
do.
yeah, yeah, this
He's an
guy,
eccentric character.
yeah. And see, where's the other guy you mentioned? We must have passed him. Um, you'll see him as soon as he pops up.
Yeah.
Uh, by the way, oh yeah, she's still in the Senate. What am I talking about?
What?
What?
No, just I
This
didn't see him.
uh,
He may go by a marginally different name
okay. What was his
than
name
what.
again?
Chap Peterson. Let's see what his district
See,
number
is there a
is.
Peterson like
District
anywhere?
34.
District
Oh, his name
34.
is John. That's why his
Chat
first name's that.
Peterson. Chat Peterson.
Yeah.
There we go. So,
Yeah.
oh,
So
he's in
he's,
Fairfax. That's interesting.
yeah, he's apparently a rather moderate candidate.
Which means he is vulnerable in the primary.
Well, I think, well, he is, but I think the goal would be to get them. They don't necessarily have to switch sides, but they need to be empowered to be able to move more moderate bills to permit more school reopenings, to keep the budget well, to keep the government alive.
Right. I
Um,
I think that Glenn Youngkin has the potential, if he governs the right way, to be Virginia's Larry Hogan.
well, it'd be nice to actually get things done. Hopefully, we can go a lot further in our ambitions than Larry Hogan can ever hope to do.
Right. Because
Since
we
we
have a
actually
chance of
have well, we actually have the numbers. I mean, we'll have the House of Delegates. It will take some negotiation, but it will not be. It's not impossible to foresee a red state senate within a year or two. Well, definitely two.
maybe. I'm
Um,
not sure because the in 2019 the two Democrats only needed two, like one or two seats to flip, and they won them by about 8.5 points.
well, yeah,
So
but that map is not going to be there, and so the
well, and
map
this, so
that
that
we is over reliant on the suburbs should be gone. So there should be a lot more competitive districts on
right.
each side. Um, which we'll get to redistricting later because it's been quite an exciting week for us on that
Yeah,
front.
the commission couldn't come to something, so the courts could produce something that might actually favor Republicans.
Yeah, which is
Um,
I don't honestly know why Dems vetoed that. It was a pretty decent map for them and us.
I by the
Lots
way,
of competition.
I meant to go over, which seats the Democrats flipped. Like we never really got to that, but because I was talking about the trends, because to me it illustrates something. Gooditis, this was a hold for Democrats.
They didn't flip any
This
of our seats.
Yeah, Northern Virginia. Yeah, they didn't. But they
The
came
irony is,
close.
of all of the seats that they held, only one of them was really a blowout for us.
Yeah, no, it
In
was
District 12. Do
District
you know
12.
why that was a blowout?
I This was Chris Hurst. This was Chris Hurst represents this part of the state. This is Blacksburg, and I believe Virginia Tech is here. This is a college district, and like I said, apparently there was an exit poll that had McAuliffe up 7 points with 18 to 29-year-olds.
No, but he especially got wrecked because he was arrested the day before.
You know the answer to this.
Yeah, yeah, it was a
Okay,
rhetorical.
I thought you were
No,
genuinely
no,
asking.
no. He was arrested the day before the election for DUI and vandalizing his opponent's campaign signs.
I think
Which is not the
it
first time he was arrested for
there
that.
was someone who vandalized the signs. I don't know if he did.
I think those were two separate incidents. I think there was the one where they were torching things, but that's why they were originally called out for
Yeah,
him. So hopefully he enjoys, not having to be in the house anymore.
right. This was I.
Oh, apparently he cursed out the police officer on the same time. That's pretty good.
Did he say hashtag defund the police, or
No,
did he say like
he was also driving on a suspended license. That's nice.
yeah, no, that yeah. I think I had felt for a while that Chris Hurst was vulnerable. That
Oh yeah.
I felt that Democrats are probably going to flip two seats in the House. Republicans were going to flip two seats in the House of Delegates. This is back when I mean, obviously I was wrong, but I figured if Republicans were going to gain seats, it was going to be this was going to be one of them. But as you can see, I believe other outlets have called this Kelly Fowler holding on against Tanya Gold. I believe actually no. Sorry, what am I doing? I should be using a different system here. This is what I should be using here. Although fortunately, it doesn't give margins at all.
Don't
But
need them.
yeah,
The margins in all of the lean races were all within a couple points, with the exception of
right.
Mr. Hurst.
So Hurst. This was a pretty substantive game. And this is like, out in a region of the state that I think Democrats should be concerned about. Well, it's long past the point where they should be concerned about. They're just dead there.
Well,
But
I think one of the recriminations they're going to have to make to themselves is they've kind of coped with these rule losses over the past few years by running up the margin hard in urban areas and the suburbs. If they can't do that, if they're going to be, they can't win Loudoun by 10 points and then win the election. It's just not going to happen when they're
right.
losing these counties in the West by 50 points.
But yeah, anyway,
You
but my point
know,
was saying was, this is like, that's a part of the state that Democrats are dead in the water. This is an area they should really be concerned about, because this
well,
is
did you see more a lot of our more radical friends were celebrating because those two seats had been converted from majority black seats to plurity black
yeah,
seats, and we won them because of
yeah,
that.
because the Supreme Court struck down the previous map as a racial gerrymander.
Yeah. So, but what that proves is that the argument, especially as we get into, and we'll talk about North Carolina later, that these narrowly black seats are not sufficient to qualify for VRA protection and are honestly not generally going to elect Dems if they are not black enough, thus
Right.
justifying making sure that communities that support that kind of thing need to be over 50%, well over 50%,
Right. So,
especially as their turnout was not terribly good.
yeah.
Um,
And finally, the other region, like I said, the Hampton Roads region. Now, the reason I was talking a little bit about this, the changes in margins here, is because look at this: three of the seats that Democrats appear to have flipped. Alex Askew. This is a very narrow one. Like, I think it's 202 vote difference right now. That's a Hampton Roads, like I think a Virginia Beach based seat. Uh, here's another one. Tim Anderson. This was a bit of a surprise to me because I felt like Republicans nominated the wrong candidate here. Chris Stoll was running for his old seat but did not win the
he was
primary.
quite moderate from what I heard.
Yeah, so they nominated this guy, and I thought that was going to cost us the seat. That did not happen. And then finally, you had this. I think this seat was big surprise.
Yes, that one was probably the more extreme surprise of the night. Even
Yeah,
though the 60 the one that looks like a ship in the black rule areas is a surprise as well.
right. This one or
No,
this
the one
one?
above it. The one
Yeah,
above it. Yeah,
yeah.
that one.
That one is another one. Although I think it's a less surprising than this one.
Well, that one, whatever you say about the region around District 91, what would that be called? I'm trying to find the VRA of the. Oh, here it is.
Hampton Roads.
Well, that I think I mean, I guess that does refer to the whole region. No, I want to see what the demographics of those two. No, this is still the old map.
It's actually, but this leads me to I was looking up there. You see, this leads me to a bit of a point. These gains were all in the Hampton Roads region, and over here, where this is a part of the state where Democrats are dead. This is a place where they're dying, and this is a place that's basically very competitive, and that Republicans were able to win back some support because either because this is a more working class part of the state, like the or a place where Democrats are more reliant on African American voters than in, say, Richmond or Northern Virginia. This is a place where Republicans are able to claw back some ground. But if you look at a place like Richmond, this is Rodney Willett. I think some people thought that this is a seat that Democrats could actually lose. Or see if I can highlight the right one. Schuyler Van Valkenburg. That's another Democrat who was thought to be really vulnerable. They both were able to hold on. And you look here, Wendy Goditis, who was thought to be vulnerable, she was able to hold on in this Northern Virginia-based seat. The only gain, like if you notice, like Richmond, the Richmond area, Democrats didn't lose a single seat, and the only seat that Republicans gained anywhere close to Northern Virginia what was this seat, Tara Durant versus Josh Cole. This is a seat I could potentially see flipping back in a few years, uh, quite easily. Whereas these are seats that I think Democrats might have to work to sort of game. And I think that elections could be decided here. This is an area that I think Democrats are royally screwed. And this is an area where Democrats, I think, have already long been screwed. But maybe because like there are a number of different ways to crack Blacksburg, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and largely there, I mean, if you look at the precinct map of it, you can kind of see how elections go, just with
Right.
urban areas getting just destroyed by rural areas that are as
Right. Like I think, for example, I think Roanoke, I think is a bit is too blue to actually to crack without risking people. But I think that Radford
oh, I
and
don't know, I could
Blacksburg.
do it.
Oh,
It's just
you can crack Roanoke.
fairly easily. Do you
We're
know how red the
we're not
districts
talking
are
Congress. We're
red?
not talking Congress. We're talking House of Delegates.
Yeah, but there are no county crossing requirements, so long as there's votes nearby, you can do anything you want.
Yeah. Especially when you have an area like this that flipped to Glenn Youngkin.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if you look at like those seats to the west of where you are, they're like almost uncontested.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so you think that this area right here, this is Roanoke. You think that this can be
Well, I don't know if the Supreme Court would do that. There's very little reason to do that.
or what about here?
I mean, there's probably some improvements to be made there, but overall, I think the geography of Virginia supports us being able to retain a narrow majority.
Right.
Um,
But in my
especially
opinion,
now that they've forfeited protection of a lot of these districts, especially those ones that we've just gained.
this is an interesting one. This ended up being like a 6-point margin. This I think was like previously drawn in a weird way, but it had a Republican incumbent who I think was particularly strong with African Americans over 2 years ago. But in 2019, I think he finally lost when the map was redrawn. But
Yeah, it was only a 7-point win for us, or 7-point win for him.
Yeah.
Solid D, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe this to me, these two areas of the state, this one and this one, I feel like Republicans have no chance to make a comeback in these areas. This is an area I think Republicans that's going to be competitive.
I think there's probably 1 or 2 more seats we can get out of Northern Virginia. Term limits will probably kick out the one that won.
I don't think there are term limits in Virginia.
Practical term limits. Just with people not living forever, will take out in District 10 there. Or primaries, moderates don't do terribly well in the Democratic Party unless
maybe people will understand that this is a competitive district.
I doubt it. Dems that live in Northern Virginia are not generally known for their moderation or their logic.
Also, this map is done anyway, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean the court will redraw it.
So we don't know what they're going to draw yet.
No, the one question we don't know is how would we have performed under the old map, the one that was struck down. Once they allocate the early votes to precincts as they plan to do, we will be able to answer that definitively.
So we could turn these into safe Republican seats.
Yeah, originally those were Dem African American PACs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they destroyed those. They should have been protected, honestly. And now they've been flipped.
Talk to Clarence Thomas, because he was the one who was part of that decision.
Well, that was one in which, well, I think that the problem with that decision compared to, especially how people talk today, is that they want the VRA to always go. They want to use the VRA to just protect themselves. There's no logic except, does it help Dems?
Right.
So whatever the necessary number of minorities need to be in a district is whatever Dems need to win.
Well, why can't Republicans like use? Supposedly, it's a party neutral law, right?
Well, but it's not because and it's well with blacks it will never be a party neutral law. With Hispanics, it is starting to become one, and Dems are sort of flailing around arguing that the ultra low turnouts of the past are what's going to happen for the future, to where even districts that are 71% Hispanic are not enough to elect an Hispanic representative, where now the turnout is high enough to where each party will have a sufficient base of Hispanics to select whatever candidate the locals want.
Right. Now, to give you a sense of what I'm
And
talking about,
so,
when I talk about how Democrats could potentially in like 2025 say take back the House Delegates majority, this seat is one that I could definitely see flipping. This sounds like the first step back to a majority. This is also a seat that looks like that in 2025 could deliver the Dems the majority again, and this is potentially a seat that could give the Democrats the majority again, as well as the seats down here that they lost.
well, I mean,
Uh,
it's a fairly narrow affair. So, I mean, the path is just win two more points everywhere.
yeah, I really wish I knew how much each of these seats voted for in the presidential election.
Um, that shouldn't be terribly difficult thing to find.
Okay, you're okay. Anyway, let you want to talk about some. I promised you talk about New Jersey. Have we beaten New Jersey until it's dead, or do you still have some more beating to do?
Well, I think there is something that is vastly more concerning for Democrats
Right.
than what happened in Virginia. I mean, Virginia was a close fought or close fought or a close fought battle that they lost. Um, there's little shame in that. New Jersey was a campaign that we didn't even try in, and we almost won. That doesn't bode well for them.
Right. You
I
can
mean, we
see on.
shouldn't have been within. We this should have been a Murphy 10 race, and we came within 40,000 votes
Yeah.
with a random guy, just some El Generico
Yeah,
um,
I
businessman. I
felt like
mean,
in the past that I'd heard concerns about candidate quality with this guy, but I think I was wrong about that.
it's New Jersey. Can't there is no candidate quality. A random truck driver apparently is the candidate we need to run.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, do you know that McAuliffe's fun fact is 48.4% of the vote is actually a higher percentage of the vote overall that he got in 2013.
Got more votes too overall. There was one funny thing I heard about Dems. Why? Because I mean, Youngkin is basically Mitt Romney 2.0 so far as his background,
Yeah,
and yet you didn't see a lot of Dem attacks on the quest on that because McAuliffe was an investor in his fund,
right.
and you can't
Uh,
criticize a guy for running a hedge fund that you're a part of. Like nobody's gonna accept that.
yeah, I think these, I could be wrong. I think these were both Biden Chiarelli counties. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right at all. Um, I think this also might have been Biden Chiarelli County. Um, this, I believe, was also a Biden Chiarelli County. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not basing that on any maps I'm looking at right now. This is just my guess. This is how Republicans win in New Jersey.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, just
Well, I
an
mean, you'll
absolute
remember on the night that everyone was saying, if we were going to win, these are the numbers we would need to get.
right.
Um,
Um,
and so Dems, I think, should be genuinely scared about what happened in New Jersey.
yeah, and what's impressive is because like in 2020, all of the every single one of these counties, with the exception of one, was either a victory for Biden or a narrow loss for Biden. So and with except for this one, this was a solid Trump victory. But with the exception of this one, it was conceivable to see a Democrat winning every other county in New Jersey, with the exception
Yeah.
of Ocean County.
And so I think we've largely we've started to reverse the trends and largely given them a scare, given especially I mean they've been going on and about critical race theory and Trump, but we ran on property taxes in New Jersey.
Were there any Biden Chiarelli congressional districts? I'm guessing those that might have been districts 5, 7, and 11. Or
We
I'm
don't
wondering.
know because they, unlike Virginia, which is published precinct numbers and has much smaller towns, New Jersey has not published anything except in those giant blocks that are counties.
Right.
And so it will take a while for us to know how anything went with any other districts
Why do they take so long to publish all this data, and why is it so different from
because
every state?
it's run by Dems. Like New
Yeah.
York. New York's a freaking joke. They have a race in Buffalo in which the writing candidate's going to win. They're not going to count writing ballots for another week.
Right. No, I mean, but also in Virginia, I recall there not being as much data as there is in other states, and this is despite the fact that Republicans have been running the state. They had been running the state for a while.
In what state?
Virginia.
Well, Virginia, the problem there was is that the system had not been updated for the rise when they expanded early voting. They didn't expand the day. I mean, early voting before was taken advantage of by almost nobody, and so there was no harm in just delivering them by county and not allocating them to precincts. Obviously, when like 30% of the votes or whatever is from early voting, doing that destroys the precinct data. So
Is
they
early
intend to
vote
correct that.
is early vote and absentee vote ultimately accorded by precinct, or is it impossible to do that?
Now it is going to be. They haven't published the numbers yet by precinct, but I do believe they will.
Right. Because I remember there's like this atlas that has like all of the county level results of every presidential election, going back to like the 1880s. But before that, the data is scarce.
Well, it just depends where it was published. Um, we do have county data, I do believe, for every presidential election.
In
Um,
every
in
state.
Yeah, it may not be the best data you've ever seen, and obviously it doesn't apply to those states that did not hold popular elections for that kind of thing.
Well, what I mean, like this will be fun actually. But
But like
actually,
if you
no.
look, let's see what the by
Anyway,
county.
new reason why I'm going to New York. I'm just moving on to New York here is because there was a very fun result.
So look,
No, this is not the one.
well, just to say, looking at the map of 1860, every state except South Carolina and partly Michigan and Minnesota have county level results that are good.
Okay. Every state
South
aside from
Carolina
the.
because they didn't hold an election, and I'm guessing not too many people live up near the Canadian border at that time in those other two
Yeah.
states.
First of all, why is this only 78% in at this time? Like
Because it's in New
today.
York and they have the worst electoral system in the country.
And yeah, by the way, look at this. I don't know how much. Oh, this is definitely going to change with the absentees, unfortunately.
It's still not terrible though.
Yeah.
But look at Staten Island. So
Oh,
good.
I was hoping for an even redder result than that.
Our dude showed
Uh,
up to a polling place with a cat. He's an interesting fellow, and Eric Adams is not a bad guy.
yeah, no. I there are people who I think who are moderate or conservative who like Eric Adams. But Nicole Maliotakis got 75% of the vote here.
Yeah. But I mean, Eric Adams, he's not a guy who inspires extreme hatred among our
Right.
people.
I
And I
think
do believe we did quite well at the local level. Didn't we get some city council seats and some other a lot of local races, especially on Long Island?
Yeah. I'd like to give me some links to show me what I'm talking about because public. Oh, this was okay. So he got reelected. That's not a surprise. This guy has been thought. I mean, might run for governor. He ran for lieutenant governor 3 years ago. And lost to Kathy Hochul quite narrowly. 53 to 47. Remember that?
Yeah.
No, but this I believe this is roughly around what Bill what it is right now. What Bill De Blasio got like by the end 4 years ago. I think so. Eric Adams, I think is a I think has the potential to be much better candidate than Bill De Blasio. I'm glad as a former New Yorker, I'm glad De Blasio is saying De Blasio.
You lived in New York?
I lived in New York I went to university there.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've sent you a pair of links
Okay.
on
Anyway,
Twitter.
I was just going down. This was the fun thing.
Oh yeah. Well, she absolutely deserved that, and the polls had said that that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Look at the referendums though.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think this is what Democrats were hoping would not happen.
Look at the first one. Absentees aren't going to overturn that, and that one was really important.
Yeah, this would have allowed Democrats to what?
We'll pass a map with a majority. It takes 2/3 now, which they can only barely meet.
Right. But they have 2/3 already.
Barely. It's a lot easier to be really radical when you have a lot to spare.
Yeah. No, they've called these just so you know. These are highlighted because these are projections.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go to your links. Sorry, I oh, you sent me to those on the tweeter.
Yeah.
Well, hold on 1 second.
I was gonna say you can just open another Twitter link. I probably have a dozen Twitter windows open.
that
Turn to
seems
everything.
seems horribly inefficient. Okay. There's been some stuff. Pick. Oh, I never even looked at that pic you sent me for. Now. Oh, you okay? New York City Council. Well, I mean, well, where did they? I'm just curious about where exactly in the city they gained ground. Um.
Probably in Queens, looking at the results.
Okay. Well, let's just.
Wow. So right now on the city council, and I'm looking at the results right now, we're already at 4 seats won, which I believe is above what we had before. And we have a decent chance in 2 to 3 more.
Yeah. So, and these were in the suburbs.
Probably. I don't know what the map looks like.
Let's see. This is certain over public safety and pandemic restrictions help. Okay. So I'm logged in on the Google Chrome. I really should get around to logging in on Edge, shouldn't I? Because Google Chrome is a bit of a prick to use as a browser. Why is this? Oh my goodness!
Which is funny, of course, because on the back end they're very similar. They both run on Chromium.
But except that Google Chrome is a memory hog.
Yeah, but Edge is based on exactly the same thing. Using memory is not bad. It's only bad when you need it for something else. But otherwise, unused memory is a waste. Not yet.
Not yet. Well, that's because, yeah, no, that's because these guys are. It's because Zoom is lagging.
But otherwise, you can see both on the city council and in some of the district attorney races and other county executive races, we've recovered quite handedly in New York.
Okay, so no, I mean, so it says they also picked up so though Democrats cruised to victories in the vast majority of races, Republicans defended 3 city council seats they held, including the one that Democrats sought to flip. They also picked up a 4th and remained competitive in 3 other races that, with some ballots yet to be counted, remained too close to call on Wednesday night. So even in 2 races where incumbent Democrats were running for re-election on multiple party lines, they received more votes on the Republican ballot line than the Democratic one. So Democrats could go. So Republicans could go from 3 to 4 seats on the city council, or they have, but they could gain. They could they could gain more.
Yes, I mean, I don't remember when the last time we've ever been above 3 to 4 seats.
Okay. So I'm curious about what seats flip though. Does it say?
If you look on the thing, just looking at some of the notable ones, you have seat 48, which apparently has a lot of Orthodox Jews. Not surprising, we've
Oh,
done better
that
there. We'll
seat
probably
flipped.
flip 19.
Wait, did
Probably.
48 flip?
Yes, overwhelmingly.
Oh wow. No, because that was a seat. Is that Chaim Deutsch's seat? Was that the
I have
seat
no idea
formerly
who
held
that
by
is.
Chaim Deutsch?
I have no idea who that is.
Well, let me just. Actually, I want to see this for a second because I was talking to you
Yes,
about that.
yes, it
I was
is.
I was talking to you about that months ago.
Yes, it is. You can
I
see
was
we
saying,
won it almost 2-1.
yeah, no, that was something I thought for a while was going to happen.
So then seat 43. Yeah, so we're basically, it looks like we're knocking off some of the people in districts we probably should have won in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, so that's good.
Like, okay, so let's look at just so District 48. Yeah, no, that's Chaim Deutsch's seat. That shouldn't be a surprise. That is Borough Park. So, and as for what was the other ones you said that we could flip or that we have flipped?
19 and 43 we're currently leading in, and we have a chance in 47.
Okay, 19. That is Bayside. That seems closer to Long Island, so I guess that's 43. That is Bay Ridge. That I guess is a that looks like possibly close to William. Is that the Williamsburg Bridge? That looks like Williamsburg.
Staten Island is off to the west.
Oh, that's Staten Island. Okay, never mind. That's not the Williamsburg Bridge at all. So that's I don't know what it's like there. This I think is also Bensonhurst. I think that's also Orthodox Jews.
Yeah, so it's all in those kind of Brooklyn areas that we're always drawing seats in to extract more Republican voters because there are a lot of them in that southern area there.
Yeah, no, I'd be curious to see what happens once all the votes are counted.
Gonna be a while probably.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So come back
Yeah,
next month.
I was also wondering if like in Rockland County, like around the Muncie area, if Republicans can make gains there. Was there elections in Rockland County?
34 wasn't remotely competitive, but
Sorry, I'm sorry for oh, Williamsburg. I
yeah.
was looking here by accident, so it,
No, but the next most competitive one, 13. Where's that?
13.
Uh up
That
in on the other side of Yonkers. Yeah, that's not surprising.
yeah, that's not a
That's the kind of
competitive seat.
area. It was 10 points.
10
10
points.
point margin.
That's without absentees.
Um I mean,
Anyway,
even if it gets stretched to 20 points, that's still pretty good for that area. Just right click the tab and click mute.
that's sorry, that's not what I meant to do. What did you say?
No, just right click the tab and click mute.
Because it's going to be loud. Oh, that's why. Actually, I'm not sound sharing.
No, but
I
just
don't
for yourself.
I don't see a mute button.
No. The tab on the top where it says
Oh,
Revenge of the Suburbs rep mute site.
mute.
Yeah.
Not that
Your
loud.
pro tip of the day. Just in time.
Cool. Red wave rolled across Long Island Tuesday night. Replaced two Democratic district attorney seats with Republicans. I'm guessing that's Nassau and Suffolk.
Yeah. And it was on that big list. Yeah, and we've taken both handedly.
Oh yeah. The Long Island is still very competitive. It's so I'm not surprised by that. Long Island is very outside of Queens is very competitive. Uh, Um, this is an impressive victory. Um, it's unexpected defeat for Democrat incumbent Tim Sini. Yeah, that's the case. So we won every county row office in Suffolk and Nassau,
I do believe that is the case.
and both county legislatures, because I think the Dems held the Suffolk County one.
I don't. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I've seen that officially reported, but the
Okay,
locals have probably said that. I'm not from New York, so
right.
I
Another
wouldn't
question I have
know.
is one thing I'm actually curious about is Monroe County. This is Rochester. Were we able to? We had like a 1 seat advantage on the county legislature. I'm wondering if we were able to hold that.
In which one?
Monroe
Say,
County. Monroe.
see how long it takes me to find.
Okay.
We all know that New York is infamous for its great election reporting system,
Yeah, so
so.
Republicans could be ahead right now. And see, is there any news? Um, tight race leaves control of the Monroe County Legislature uncertain. Which, oh, this one's reporting Republicans retain majority for now. It seems like there's conflicting opinions. Like maybe it's possible the Dems could actually win.
How many districts are there? There's 29. Now this is gonna take a while. So we've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, quite narrow with a few of them within single digits. So,
So that
um,
might not be good. It might be the case because we only have a 1 seat advantage,
uh, 2.
2 seat advantage.
Yeah, be 16 to 13.
Oh wow,
But these all say 100% reporting, so they may have already finished.
they're allowed to already finish.
Well, I mean, since they're outside of New York and they're previously run by us, they probably don't have the
Well,
world's worst electoral
what
system.
about state? It might be possible that state laws, because you remember what happened back in that Brindisi versus Tenney race.
Well, that was a case of just really bad local authorities combined with really bad state laws, whereas this is a purely local race with a law. I mean, each of these districts has like 5,000 people in it. How do you screw that up? And so there are equal numbers of, I mean, there are some close seats that Dems hold as well. I mean, this one,
Okay.
it's
The
it's
other one I want to
3,603 votes versus 3,556. I mean,
right. The other one I want to see is was there Rockland County? I don't see anything here. They're not okay. No reporting going on elections that took place in Rockland County because I want to see if anything happened in Muncie. Oh goodness, no. There has been okay. This is not the article on Tuesday night.
probably not if it's hard to find.
Yeah,
I would say that I have about 30 minutes left with you. So while the
okay.
New York local elections are pleasant, I would say moving on to north or redistricting would be prudent.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Why don't I give you permission to screen share?
Ooh, the power.
Okay, you have anything you want me to show? You have any DMs you want to broadcast to the world? Do you want to?
Meh.
It's okay, so we won't be doing mutually assured destruction.
With regards to what?
Broadcasting our DMs to the world.
Oh, well, I'm not that many members of that many DMs. So, oh
Okay.
God. I like how everyone's laughing at the California Commission's map. Um, just an abominable, just terrible.
Oh, they have
Um,
another map.
it's just disgusting. I mean, everybody's, I mean, it's not a partisan thing. It's just what they're putting together sucks.
You're teasing it. Like you got to show the goods.
That's gonna take some time. They didn't publish it in the cleanest format. Let's start with North Carolina first, where I can actually get the map they just passed today. Was this adopted? No. Let's go find the one they just adopted. Is this how they really? I like how when they define districts and bills, they just tossed in block IDs. That's kind of cool. I like that. Uh, RH elections did it for me.
Okay, you're back on the record. Go ahead. You were
Good.
saying?
Well, depending on what side you're on, the good people at RH elections found it and put it into oh wait, that's not what I wanted to click.
That map. Oh, I
I
thought they were
love
going
it.
for. I thought they were going for an even redder version of North Carolina's second now.
It's not really necessary because this composite. Oh wait, let me copy this.
They've renumbered these districts. I don't like that.
What's the way to copy on DRA? You don't need to export it.
How red is that 14th?
Um, 5 points. You got to remember that that one includes the So I mean, if we look at the second,
That it
I mean,
sounds. It
it's
looks like
pretty blue, but I mean, Trump came within 10,000 votes, so
the
it will
second.
definitely flip. Yeah, it'll definitely flip
That
in
14th district
2022.
looks like it's gonna. They Republicans are gonna want someone other than Madison Cawthorn to hold.
Oh, easily. But you can see even I don't have the governor's race included.
By the way, has you ever seen a more disappointing Republican than Madison Cawthorn?
Well, there's a couple women from Colorado and Georgia on that list,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
here, I mean, even he lost it by what, 1.5 points. So,
Oh, he
and
lost
that's
this version of the district.
well, no, just the governor.
Oh, the governor.
Yeah, that's kind of the top. You can figure that's generally going to be the ceiling for most Dems.
Yeah.
Will be his performance.
The,
4, he still lost it.
wait,
Um,
that what? Oh, there's competitive seats on this map.
yeah, it's North Carolina. They're not that hardcore.
Well, last time around, they tried to draw a map that had no competitive seats.
I mean, the original map that they drew back in 2012 had a lot of competition on it. It just happened to be when all that competition was done, it ended up in like a 10-3 map. But that's probably how this will go. I do actually like this. I probably wouldn't draw 4 like this, but I really like what they've done here.
Yeah, that's actually a better map than what I thought they were going to go. I thought they were going to try to draw 11 to like safe Republican seats.
That's a bit risky. But this, I mean, sticking these to be as safe as they are with the suburbs.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a very good job of linking every suburb and urban area with a rural area.
Do they
You don't want to
have
be
to
too aggressive here.
do they have to draw 2 safe Democratic seats in the Research Triangle?
Basically, it's really blue. If you try to do, even my map features 2. Yeah.
Right.
I draw it all the way over. I wouldn't do this.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I personally would try to put one Democratic
Kind of
seat
ugly.
in the Piedmont
Kind of
triad.
ugly. Well, no, but you don't need to because of how red these areas are in between. But no, but I think what this map shows is that gerrymanders do not need to be ugly to be gerrymanders. I mean, this looks quite compact. With the
Right.
exception of just weird, who knows what they're doing here.
I would love it if North Carolina were to draw 14 Trump +1 seats.
You can do it, but it would be dangerous and a violation of the VRA because I think, well, Are any of
Actually,
these majority
did we
black?
establish the last time that that's not the
Nine
case?
is. Not nine is there is one protected district. This one. Yeah, this one's gonna be protected. No, it's not. What is this just oh, it's just my no yeah, there are no majority. Yeah, so the VRA really doesn't matter, especially because the VRA used to matter for this, but since when
Is
the court redrew the map, they severely reduced, I mean by 4 or 5 points,
in
reduced the black population in this district.
in Virginia, is it true that neither the Hampton Roads nor the Richmond seats are VRA districts?
Let's check.
Actually, Bobby Scott
Nope.
and actually, is it Bobby Scott and Donald Makichin, or is that I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Let us see if they are protected.
I think the Richmond one might.
Not really, not really. Three. Let's see
Yeah, the
what's
Hampton
one.
Roads one is the one I'm not sure about.
That's not really black enough to qualify for protection.
So neither of them are.
Not really. I mean, it's close. I think my VA map does have it over a majority,
So you could
but not by
basically
much.
you could draw a compact seat that is there's Richmond, Henrico, and the inner portion of Chesterfield.
So I mean, basically four. Just
Yeah,
kind of
four could be Richmond, Henrico.
not that's protected. It's not even close.
Yeah, but it's not protected, so you can draw it any way you want.
Yeah, I don't think the court will though. I don't think they'll be that aggressive, but I think in North Carolina, it's just a good sign that they didn't cave to pressure. But the map I was more happy with was the map they published of, oh God, of, New Hampshire. That's not how to spell the word map.
Because like,
Nope.
do you think that it's legally permissible to crack the southwest of Georgia as well?
I think it is, but they won't.
They won't.
It's right at the barrier of being protected. The way I've always done it when I draw it is to draw it in with parts of Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you
Because there are
even
a
need
lot of
to.
wasted votes down there that would be better served in
Yeah, I mean, I would pack.
protecting the South.
Right, I would pack Democrats into 4 Atlanta-based seats and have the rest of them Republican.
Yeah, that's how I do it. Well, 3 Atlanta, 1 Atlanta plus that. But look at the New Hampshire map.
That is a thing of beauty.
It really is. Apparently, even McCain won one of these districts.
Yeah. Did Trump?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one would be safe. R to the extreme.
No, I mean no that but no, it would be the other one would be safe D to the extreme.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Because I thought the best you could do was one seat being Biden plus 12, the other being Biden plus 2.
I think let me find my.
Oh, the one where you go squiggle like go all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, even that's not largely necessary. And you can see
Yeah.
that the trends that they've adopted are pretty similar to what I've done, just cleaner. But you can see that
That does
Trump
not
won
look
that.
contiguous.
It is. Barely, but it is.
Okay.
It took a long time to draw, but
Oh, that little sliver under right on the south. That's how they connect it.
yeah, there's a lot of interesting connections. I'm quite proud of this, but you can see that Trump won it by 8 points. Sanu won it by 50? 46? Did he win? I think he even won. Yeah, he even won that.
How much did Trump win it by?
8
8.
or
Wow.
7.6, I guess. But it's this is the partisan lean. In fact, this isn't even.
That must mean Biden won the other district by like 21.
22.
22.
Which
And Chris Sununu may have barely won it though.
if we color the oh no, he did really well. This is by the governor's race.
Oh no, that does. Oh, that's the governor's race. Oh wow, that's not even
Yeah,
close.
he still won by 16 points.
Yeah.
So He's a uniformly popular guy. So that map, if it would be so, will be another district for us.
This person had
He's
only
gonna
won by
recover
like
that.
22 statewide.
If not more.
At least, well, it's actually funny because Charlie Baker and like it's funny because New Hampshire's actually had like Republicans have not done as well in the gubernatorial races as in say Vermont and Massachusetts, where they've done even better. Like New Hampshire's
Well, the
always been
key though,
closer.
the key though, and this is what kind of a lot of Dems are like, oh well, Dem governors in Kentucky and Louisiana mean those are blue states, right? But the difference is in states like Louisiana or Kentucky or Vermont or Massachusetts, us winning or them winning the governor's race hasn't translated down ballot. Whereas us winning in Virginia or winning in New Hampshire last year saw us do very well down ballot.
Yeah.
And so those are the
Well,
big differences.
well, in Kentucky, like they don't elect governors in the legislature at the same time. It's the only state where I
Well,
think
but
that's the
but
case.
well, but they don't need to. We won all the other statewide offices in both Louisiana and Kentucky.
Also, I think that Louisiana is a guaranteed flip in 2 years from now.
Oh, easily. Both of them will be.
Kentucky might be competitive though,
Shouldn't
because
be.
it's an incumbent governor and he's doing okay.
He barely beat an idiot. You know, in
Right.
a pretty favorable Dem year. It's not going to be favorable. I mean, Dem said the same thing in 2015. Oh, it'll be easy. We've got all these great candidates, and they all got wrecked against people who did not deserve to win.
Right. Just that incumbents, typically do better than open candidates.
Not good enough.
Like there might be a bit of an incumbency advantage for Andy Bashir. It's
Especially
tough.
given we got a litany of good candidates.
I start Kentucky off as a pure toss up.
I wouldn't. It
Starts
might
start.
likely are before the primary and say far after it.
Well, that's assuming we don't nominate because Bevin said he's going to run again.
Bevin won't win. He's a very unpopular guy. He almost lost the primary as an incumbent governor, if you'll remember. He has no chance. It's just a random dude 4 years later.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the rest of the Kentucky races, they weren't even close.
And
Like
there's
Daniel Cameron beat Greg Stubbo, a quite popular Dem, by I don't know, 16 points.
right 14. Yeah, it was less competitive than the Kentucky auditor race, where I actually got met the Democrat for Kentucky governor online.
The auditor's
Uh,
race was still 16 points.
yeah,
The Secretary of State, I think, was the only close one. Um, and we still won by 6 points. So
yeah. It's actually interesting because the only competitive, probably the only remotely competitive areas of Kentucky are probably the Jefferson Oldham County areas, like these
well, I mean,
those.
they have lots of areas that are legacy Dem that we're still kicking Dems out of. You know, in sheriff's races and the local house races.
Yeah,
We're quite lucky last year that we were able to bolster our majority in the Kentucky House. It's allowed us to be much more
yeah,
radical in education and other things.
yeah. There's a couple other Democrats, Ashley Tackett Lafferty and Angie Hatton, down I think around Pikeville, who
Yeah.
should be probably be vulnerable. Although Ashley Tackett Lafferty defeated a Republican challenger.
At least for now.
Yeah.
Um, and then
In
another
South
thing that
in South Carolina, I think we've maxed out. By the way,
so,
we
well,
we
yeah,
took
but
out
that's
we
fine.
we took out I think the last remaining Democrats who were vulnerable, like Vincent Shaheen, Lori Funderburk, and Mandy Powers Norrell.
Yeah. That's one in which drawing defensively would be a good idea.
Because you think those
Um,
areas could get wacky?
well, the suburbs are a little sketchy around Charleston and along the coast.
Well, Funderburk, MPN, and Shaheen were actually in I think one of the last parts of South Carolina to sort of go Republican. It's like that area south of Charlotte. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, no, but I think the important thing there is just to avoid, sort of like we've done in Oklahoma, is to take out the chance of losing, that one light red seat.
I honestly think they should
So,
just draw a seat just entirely in Oklahoma County.
oh no, have you seen the latest map that we've
Oh
introduced?
yeah, doesn't look aggressive enough.
It should be. I mean, it
It
was
is every seat Trump plus 60 or more.
no, but doesn't need to be to hold it.
But you can afford to draw every seat Trump plus 60 or more. I'd love them to draw Trump plus one seat though.
Yeah, I mean, most of the commentary suggests that it will be maybe competitive by 2030, and by which, we get to redraw it again. So, um,
Is Oklahoma's second was the most Republican district for the first time, right? In 2020?
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the only remaining district with a plurality Democratic voter registration edge.
Yeah, a lot of legacy Dems, as I've said, and those are the dangerous um things that have to be avoided. Um, but largely, I think it fixes the problems in the old map and enables us to not have to deal with any unwarranted competition for the next decade. Before
Unwarranted
I,
competition.
Yeah, before I go, the one thing I would also note in on a completely separate topic is the increasing concern over the stability of the Ethiopian government.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I've been very surprised by how concerning the reporting has gotten on the question. And I'm not sure I fully understand why everybody's panicking. Um, it perhaps betrays a lack of faith uh, in the government's ability to hold. But the rebels are still quite a ways away from the capital, and why they're preparing for a siege, I don't know. I mean, we can take a look at the latest. This is it's a third party map, but quite reliable from what I've heard. I mean, the capital's here. The rebels are still quite a ways away, even if you assume all of this is rebel controlled.
Oh, what happened in South Africa, by the way, while we're waiting for this?
Well, I heard the ANC fell below 50% of the vote for the first time, but that most of those votes, and I believe even DA was down over their last result to the EFF, which isn't good.
Those are not congressional districts, right? That we're looking at.
This is in Ethiopia.
Okay, so but they're not legislative districts.
No, these are regions, and the colors indicate areas of rebel or government control.
Okay,
They're at
so
war.
basically legislative districts.
Yeah, this is a real war, which is why you see the guys with guns.
Yeah, making a sick
No, no,
joke
I get
about
the
the
joke.
nature of America. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of surprising how, I mean, they're openly talking about the government fleeing south, openly talking about other regions defecting uh, and seceding in response to this, um, which is quite concerning, I would say.
Okay.
Especially, I mean, there
Uh,
are there are millions of people living between the rebels and that capital, and a lot of them are already starving.
yeah.
Um,
Didn't they
it'll
have
be
an election recently?
They did, and apparently Tigray did not approve of the results.
Oh yeah, Tigray.
Um,
Well, so there's a worst case scenario that's possible for Ethiopia.
well, I mean, the worst case is millions dead. I mean, that city, if the rebels needed to take it by force, would see. I mean, it would look like Stalingrad, after a few months easily.
Right.
Um, each side, I mean, they commit war crimes against each other on a daily basis. I mean, when the rebels took this city by force, they rounded up hundreds of people and shot them. Um, Apparently, in Addis Ababa, they've been rounding up members of ethnic groups that live in the north. Just incidentally being in the capital. Um, so
Right.
should be quite bad. And each side, I mean, they each are very well armed. I mean, they're using ballistic missiles, old Soviet tanks. Um, I mean, they're it's quite sketchy. They're each just unrepentantly shelling and rocketing civilian neighborhoods. It's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
It's something that
Wow.
doesn't get talked about.
Really sad. I mean, like you're talking about it cheerfully. I think this is really upsetting.
Well, not cheerfully, just sort of more surprise than anything.
Yeah.
The Ethiopian military has done extremely bad in containing the rebels. I mean, they had the rebels down to like this a few months ago,
Right.
maybe a year ago rather, and they've lost all this ground since. They took very heavy casualties in these areas. Each side possesses a litany of arms that are fairly significant. Let me see if I can find the guy who does. Do I really not have on this list? Let me find him because he's very good.
That's
They
such a
track
great.
arms, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
they're a quite
you might
reliable
want to
source of.
you might want to follow Winsome Sears, just so you know.
I do believe I already am. Well, I think I
Oh,
followed her team account or whatever that was. Um,
it's great news in Seattle, by the way.
oh yeah. I knew you'd be happy about that. But I mean, you can see here the Ethiopians retaking, real ballistic missile launchers.
Whoa.
Here's some on the side of the rebels still. Um, I mean, they both are possessing a litany of weaponry, quite extreme for a previously low-level civil war.
Right.
Um, and of course, the administration, I believe they've issued statements of concern. So basically, a
Right.
joke.
Anyway, we'll talk again sometime.
We will have a good rest of your day.
You too.